Welcome back to the Reidel Law Firm YouTube and Odyssey channel. This week I want to chat about franchise exit options, right? So I've done a few videos about this in the past. This is always a hot topic, I guess, as it comes up certain times of the year. It seems like we've helped quite a few folks lately with some exits. I want to go over a little bit about some of the challenges with franchise exits, right? So I have a video already about the franchise exit options. I'll link to that below, or you can check out our channel. Now, some of the challenges I want to go over with that. So the first option, if you've seen the video or you haven't, I would go watch that one first. First option is typically to try and sell, right? Sell the business. Some of the challenges there are that your business is probably very difficult to value, especially if you are in a situation where there's a pending potential insolvency, right? You're running out of money, or the cash flow is constricted, right? Or you've been losing money actively. You may have a sense that's very difficult to exit, right? To sell the business and value it. And it is very difficult, but I will tell you that there are buyers, business buyers out in the country, right? In the US, who specifically look for distressed businesses, right? A distressed business is a business that is not doing well, right? Is struggling with cash flow or has operational issues. And there are specific investors who look for that opportunity, right? Because they know they can get probably good assets at a discount and step in, put in a little bit of capital, operate the business, grow it, and then flip it again. That's a business model here in the United States, is finding distressed businesses, bringing it up to speed, flipping it out, right? So there are opportunities for that. And what I recommend clients do when they come to me with a situation is to explore with a business broker, and ideally a business broker who specializes in distressed businesses, to sit down and explore the options that may be available to you to sell the business, right? Now, selling a business will take some time. You're going to have to think out your timeline of how long you have operationally to handle cash flow, right? To make sure you keep the doors open and meet payroll, things like that. You need to go through that analysis so you know what your timeline is, right? You probably shouldn't expect to sell the business 30 days from putting it up on the market. You're going to need some runway, right? You're going to need some room to run there, probably between 3 and 6 months, generally, at least in my, what I usually see in my experience. Maybe sooner, ideally sooner, if you price it to go, right? And it's a good business that distressed business buyers see value in, then certainly you could do it quicker than 3 months. But that's usually a good rule of thumb, 3 to 6 months. So you need to think about your exit strategy. If you're going to try to sell, which is the best option for you as a franchisee, you need to find out if you have the timeline to make that happen. And you got to start moving fast, right? Getting stuff together, preparing your financials, putting it on the market for distressed buyers to review and entertain. But that's the first challenge, right? If you're trying to sell, you need to have time. You need to have some funds and cash to be able to carry you through that timeline. And then you got to find the right way to value your business, right? Even if it's a distressed business, there is value to it. There are assets, excuse me, and you got to find a way to make sure that you describe and detail that value, right? And find the right value for the right buyer so they can step in and assume that property, right? And assume that business from you. So those are challenges under the first option, which is selling your business. Second option is a negotiated exit, negotiated termination with the franchisor. Now, the challenges around this are that it is going to be completely dependent, unfortunately, completely dependent on the disposition of the franchisor. If the franchisor wants to work with you on a seamless transition and they want to be reasonable about the terms that they will work with you on that exit, on that transition, then it's usually not such a painful process, right? That's what we do. We step in, we work with a franchisor, trying to negotiate that exit, what fees are involved, the timeline, what happens when, and what we have to do to close it, whether it goes to a full unit closure or it goes to transitioning to a corporate unit or something else. It's very, very important, to outline all of that and have somebody on your side. But the franchisor has to be willing to work with you. Some of them, I would say most of them are, some of them are not. And what happens when they're not reasonable, if they are totally unwilling to budge, say, on liquidated damages, that's usually a tough one. Sometimes the liquidated damages, if it's in your franchise agreement, it's going to be in the 6 figures range, which is crazy if it's a business that is insolvent, right? I don't know. Franchisors, I tell them, it's like, I don't know where you think the money's going to come from. It's not there. Good luck, right? Trying to collect that. But if they're totally unreasonable in trying to find a way to transition that business and can't find a way to come to reasonable terms on liquidated damages or any other term for that matter, then there's not a whole lot that even I could do, right? Both parties in a negotiation have to want to reach a conclusion. They have to be reasonable to reach a point that everybody agrees to. And if one side is unwilling or unable or whatever, then there is no negotiation. You're talking to a wall, right? So I've had handful of franchisors just in recent memory that I don't know if it's their policy or if I don't know, or whatever, if they just they felt like my client had money, I don't know, or whatever, that it wasn't insolvent, that those handful of franchisors just totally were unwilling to reconsider any terms for termination. So what happens then? We go to what I call the nuclear option, right? That is a unilateral closure. Now, the challenges behind this are that there is uncertainty, right? The first 2 options, we have a process to exit, and we have certainty around the contracts. We know what is ending, what is not ending, what is everyone's responsibility. In a unilateral closure, which means you shut down your unit, lock the door, and walk away, legally it's an abandonment in the franchise agreement. That's what will be considered in default as an abandonment of the unit. If you do that, there is uncertainty. There is uncertainty around what obligations are still being enforced, whether there's uncertainty whether the franchisor is going to try and collect from you on certain things, whether that's liquidated damages or continuing royalties or any other actual damages, maybe for de-identifying the unit, something like that. There's uncertainty, right? There is potential liability. That liability could be great, could be pretty significant. In the few unilateral closures that we've counseled clients through and assisted clients through, we've not had a franchisee sued by the franchisor. I did have a franchisee sued by a landlord after unilateral closure, but that was because they were like 8 or 12 months behind in rent. It wasn't because we were closing it down. So yeah, that wasn't my lawsuit. that anything we did didn't happen. That was like before we were involved, but they sent it when we started the closure. So anyways, so that's the challenges with that, is that if you're having to close down unilaterally because you're out of money, you just can't do it anymore, potentially there are future risks and liabilities that could pop up. Is it likely if you're in dire straits and the business is totally insolvent, is it likely you're going to be sued for liquidated damages? Probably not, because the franchisor is going to have to shell out probably $40,000, $50,000 or more to try and bring a successful lawsuit against you for liquidated damages and try to then collect from you. And it's going to take them years. It's going to take them probably 2 years, right? In the most recent franchise litigation we've had, we don't handle litigation. Let me start by that. But that our franchisor client was involved with an outside litigator. It lasted 3 years. Yeah, 3 years from start to conclusion. Well, conclusion is in a judgment. We haven't collected on it yet. so it's 3 years plus if you want to start counting collection money in my client's pocket. So that's a big one, right? Is the unilateral closure might be your only option, and it could be the key option, right? To end the bleeding, stop the losses, and move on. but it also leaves you with significant unknowns, right? Potential liabilities that you'll have to consider moving forward. So that is the franchise exit challenges and difficulties. If you need help with talking through your potential franchise exit, or you think we might be a fit for you, reach out. Reidel Law Firm, we'd love to help you out. I've done franchise exits for our clients. We do several a year. One of my franchise attorneys, Miss Tabitha on staff, she was a franchisee before she was a lawyer, who actually had her own exit. And I think she did her own exit without a lawyer. So we've got staff here who are experienced in it. We've got people who have been in your shoes and know how difficult those choices are. So let us know if we can help. We, that's our jobs, right? So protect you legally, help walk you through and counsel you through that process, because it is very, very stressful, and you want people on your side. You definitely want some experts to be able to go into battle with you. So reach out. We'd love to chat with you. I'd love to see if we'd be a fit to help you out. Until then, we'll see you next time.